Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Uranus Sextile or Trine one's natal Pluto. Now, this transit may manifest in goals, aspirations, friendships, future, freedom, independence, being in harmony with power and control. Now, I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. The thing is, this could be a time where your goal or goals, I should say, aspirations may be tied in with gaining power and control, and it could be an auspicious time for this. It could simply be gaining more control over your life, your physical body. If you have this, say, natal Pluto's in the sixth house in your chart, it could be having control over your health situation or your employment, your daily routine. If you've been, say if your daily routine has been somewhat erratic and sporadic, this could be a time where, if you set that goal, that aspiration really to have more control in that, then it could be a positive time for this. It's also a time where friendships, people that are prominent in groups, clubs, and organizations, these people may be beneficial in those issues. If you're trying to get control of a situation, it can be very positive for this. If you're trying to make some major change or transformation, this is the time where friendships can be very beneficial to you in doing so. If that goal or aspiration is to make that major change or transformation, this is the time where it could be very propitious for doing this. And it's a time too, where you can balance matters with friendships and again groups, clubs, and organizations with matters with crisis. If you're trying to take care of a crisis at this time, this could be a time where you can balance those Uranus-related things with that. And the thing about this too, if you're trying to, this could also be a time where Uranus is connected with innovation, it's new technology. And say if you're trying to make physical transformation, you're trying to, you don't like your physique, and you're trying to make some major change with that, this could really be a positive time to do so with using a new technology, things that are innovative. It could be, workout equipment. It could be, legal muscle enhancing formulas, some other examples. It may also be a time where, it's about having freedom. And you might be able to free yourself up if you're trying to, resurrect something like a business, as an example. Say you have your natal Pluto in the 10th house. It could be a business. It could be a career that maybe had stopped for a little bit, and if you're trying to revive it, this could be the time where you could have your friendships. It could be positive for you doing so. If that is a goal or aspiration for you, it could be beneficial in resurrecting that business, as an example. It could also be a time where your future right now is really can be very well tied in with just simply gaining that power and control in your life and having the right amount of passion and desire for doing so. Now, let's say if you have any issues that are anatomically connected with Pluto, like the colon, the prostate, the bladder, reproductive system, or urinary tract, as some examples. This could be the time where it's about having the freedom to take care of those matters. If you've had any diversions or distractions, or you might have not taken those issues seriously, if you do have any of those things I described that are anatomically connected with Pluto, this could be the time where you can be able to free yourself up, basically have that freedom to do something about those matters. And it can be a time as well. When you have this transit, it's a time where you can have your future is really, it's about taking control, of your own future, being, really being more responsible for your own destiny and not allowing others to control. And it can be very positive for doing this. Now, if you're dealing, friendships can be beneficial too if you, by any remote chance, if you're dealing with some, situation, involving bullying or coercion. Um, it doesn't necessarily have to be you. Let's say if you have your natal Pluto in the fifth house and you're experiencing a child that is being bullied, say in school. This could be the time where the groups, organizations, they could be beneficial more so than usual in actually helping you at this point in time in dealing with this. And it's also a time as well to have, really, using, if you're using the internet for deep research and you're trying to maybe solve a mystery as an example, or you're doing some kind of criminal investigation, this could be more of a positive time for doing so, with less interruptions or disruptions at this time, and you're less likely to run into, let's say, internet difficulties, having computers shut down, or something happens where you get disconnected for whatever reason. And it's really a time as well when you have this transit. This is where friendships can be very positive, matters of support, whether it's moral, emotional, or monetary. And these people can be very beneficial in those matters at this time when you have this transit. And it's also a time as well when this transit does take place where it could be about pursuing your future, with much passion and desire, without being overly fixated or obsessed on with it. It's a time where you can also, Uranus-related subjects such as astrology, computers, electronics, astronomy, meteorology, aviation, innovation as some examples. These things you can have that right amount of passion and desire to go out to do at this point in time when this transit does take place. And this is also a time where you really, if you have to do something involving deep research, if you're doing so on the internet, this is the time, as an example, this is a time, again, going back to Uranus being connected with freedom, where you can have that ability, have that time to do so at this time, more so than you ordinarily would. And this is a time as well, if you're dealing with any kind of disruption or something shocking or unpredictable happens, this is a time where you could be more in control and deal and cope with the situation, or get that support that you need to help you deal with it at this point in time when this transit takes place anyway. Well, another way this transit could manifest, it could be where friendships, which is Uranus, could be beneficial to you making a major change or transformation, which is Pluto. Now, let's say, for example, if your natal Pluto is in Sagittarius in the fifth house, it could be doing something with the outdoors, which is Sagittarius, and sports related, which is the fifth house. And also goals and aspirations, which is Uranus, is something where you may have that right amount of passion and desire for, and that emotional intensity, which is Pluto, to attain. Now, if, let's say, for example, if the transit of Uranus is in Aries in the 8th house, that goal may be arson, which is Aries, investigation, which is the 8th house. And also two clubs, which is Uranus, can be more in harmony and agreement with what you have that desire and passion for, which is Pluto. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now let's say, for example, if the natal Pluto is in Virgo in the 11th house, those things, you may have a passion, desire for. It could be analyzing or diagnosing, which is Virgo, something with computers, or astrology, or an astrology chart, which is, astrology is connected with the 11th house as well. Um, and also, too, this could be that time where you have that freedom, which is Uranus, to give support, which is Pluto. And if Pluto, for example, is in the 12th house, it could be giving that support to the less fortunate, which includes, the impoverished, homeless, hungry, oppressed, and the less fortunate, being connected with the 12th house. And this also could be an auspicious time, for your future, which is Uranus. It could be in shared resources situations, um, just in general, which is Pluto. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.